Welcome back. 7:42 right now. We have talked about this before. The stock market has been sailing along this summer. That is until last Monday, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by more than 614 points. So what was behind the huge sell-off that seemed to come out of nowhere? To answer that question, we're joined by our financial expert, Bruce Allen of Bruce G. Allen Investments. Bruce, good morning.
Good morning, Gary.
So you say there may have been several reasons, one being uneasiness over something that's going on in China. What's all that about?
There was a property developer over last weekend that looked like they were going to default on their bond payments. One of the biggest property developers in China is named Evergrande, and real estate's a big business in China, much bigger than here in the United States as a percentage of our economy, or a percentage of their economy is very large. Evergrande has a lot of debt, and they've been getting increasing financial difficulties over the last year and a half. And so they look like, as of today, they will not make their first debt payment on one of their large bonds. And given that the Chinese government typically bails out financial companies if there's a problem, this is a different approach by the Chinese government to companies that are facing financial difficulties, and they may let Evergrande default on their bonds and potentially go into bankruptcy, Gary. That concern is that the concern is really that Evergrande, the real estate company in China, is going to be the Lehman moment, a lot like our Lehman Brothers was a big moment of problem for the 2008 financial crisis here in the United States. Many investors are worried that Evergrande's default will cause a similar kind of impact on the Chinese economy, Gary.
Well, that doesn't sound good for sure, but given that it's in China, why should you and I be concerned about the meltdown of a Chinese company?
I think there's a couple reasons. One is China is the second largest economy in the world behind ours, and if they're having a difficulty, that may spread out like dominoes to other economies. The bigger issue really is that investors may have been using this as an excuse to sell stocks. And the reason for that is that the stock market's gone up dramatically since March of 2020 during the pandemic, when the stock market hit its lows. Since that time, Gary, the stock market's more than doubled. Through early September, it had gone up over 100%. And there may have been some people that were concerned about stock prices getting too expensive and wanted to use this as an excuse to sell off some stocks and put some money on the sidelines as we come into the significantly challenging seasonal area of September and October. Those 2 months can be kind of problematic in the stock market at times.
All right, Bruce Allen, as always, we appreciate the information. Thanks. We'll see you next week.